Welcome, folks, to the last day of trading of the month of January. That is Friday, January 30th, 2026, and this is our recap. So we managed to squeeze out $23 today. So good 2 days to the end of the month, and let's look forward to February, which I doubt will be better. And the reason I say that is things are looking a little bit grim here. So February might be a slowdown day, and we may see that the entire month especially on large caps, the SPY, the fluctuation of the dollar, bonds, treasuries, notes, and yeah. So hopefully the small caps stays a little up, beat, so that we can rake in a little bit. And to that end, we got to be careful. And this is a new mantra of trading. We got to check our pulse before we check the charts. Before we even begin to take trades, we have to be in a good mental state, a good physical and emotional state. The three big ones for a human sitting at a software terminal and trading stock market. Small caps with a small 2K account. Believe it. Make sure you have your pre-market prep and make sure you go through it. If you fail one day to look up the daily on a special symbol, or you don't look up its origin, you could be in for big trouble, especially if you don't check resistance levels. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Appreciate all the likes and all the subscriptions so I can continue to make more videos. Make sure you have a setup, something that works for you and is repeatable, and that you practice and you've back tested specifically in the simulator, which I know it's not the same, but nevertheless, it's always good to test. It won't hurt. You don't lose money in the simulator. So we're looking at the end of the month, and January 30th, we only took one trade, 3 executions on FEED, on feed. So it was a nice trade, and we bought 20 to start out with, just to jump in the water at 481. Then we went in for 240 at 486, and we got out at 495 at the top of the bar. Well, it's a little early, but I don't mind, because we wound up green. We didn't have to sit there and hope that it was going to be a bigger green day, and it could have been, certainly. I think the stock went over $5 all the way up $5.30. I think we'll see it on the video in a minute. But for the month here, we wind up the last 2 days on green. We reduced what could have been 470 and a little less. And yeah, January was the same as January 2026 was the same as January 2025. Over $400 in loss. So we got to tighten up in February. There's no if and or buts. And so what I want to show you here is the peck and hunt. So I got on a little bit before the stock market opened, a little bit before 6:30, I think, 5 or 10 minutes. And remember, I'm on Pacific time on the West Coast, so it's 9:30 on the Eastern Coast. So we're in the market open, and I didn't take any trades on FAT, FATBB, FATBP, all related to the fat brands who had news and were moving up. And I did what I said in the recap of yesterday's video, was I was going to be an observer. I was just going to look. GITS was another one that was also moving. And this one was difficult not to get in because it obviously looked like a good play here, and probably there were a few cents to be made, but I felt that discipline was a little bit more important. So I didn't. And it's held up right here. But as much as it went up, it also came down. So with those peaks and valleys, you have to time it very well. You have to be ready, and I wasn't feeling it. And more, getting led to the point where I think that when stocks move almost in semi-parabolic moves, that's where you want to jump in. I think that for folks like me who like to trade the uptrend, we're going to be up at the top. We're not going to be able to go in at the bottom. We're not going to wait for pullbacks. So the best thing to do is wait for a semi-parabolic trade and or move from any symbol, and those won't come every week. They're going to be maybe one or two a month, and they're going to be difficult to find. And what that means is less trading. So it'll be interesting to see the first week in next week, February, to see how I do, because FOMO always is problematic. So we continue looking at the fat brands. I mean, this was all the rage and all the noise, but they had moves in the early market, and I thought about getting up early, but I said, no, I'm not gonna. It's Friday. We don't know what we're gonna expect. Here's another one that moved a few cents right out the open. Yeah, 60 to 70, and I couldn't trade this one. I think this was a foreign stock, and I tried to take a trade on it, but I wasn't allowed, because this would have been a nice win there. But it goes with the territory, and I know you can call Thinkorswim and ask them to open these up for trading, but at this point I don't think I'm interested. Other options are, of course, to go to another broker, and I did not like the fact that Webull stores your facial biometric information in foreign countries like Estonia and Brazil. I mean, you're giving away your facial recognition and having it stored in foreign countries. That still has me bothered. I don't see how people can tolerate that. But I guess to each his own. So we started looking at feed here close to the 7 a.m. top of the hour. And at first, I saw feed earlier in pre-market before the open, and I thought that it had an opportunity to move up, but I wasn't so sure. And here, even though I'm looking at it go up, what I'm seeing is wicks. I'm seeing these long top tail wicks there that are causing me grief. And here, of course, by the time I start looking at it, it is moving into in between those two lines that have got sort of a channel, but it's up towards the top of the upper band. And I didn't feel confident at first, but then once this bar opens up a little green, then I thought, okay, maybe there is something here. Maybe there's a little bit to take. But I was way late on this one, and what happened is I ignored it from the beginning. Had I paid more attention, then I would have seen this pattern. Even if I didn't take it at right at the open, let it go for an hour and then break it in. And then I thought, you know what, there might be buyers coming in around the top of the hour. I didn't think that there would be buyers at 8 a.m. An hour later, because it's a Friday and folks would want to leave early. So and this time I didn't go all in, not 1,000 shares or a huge amount or 240 shares, because It's over $4, so there's a limit to what you can do with your cash. So we just took 20 shares, and we're just gonna feel it out and see what happens. And it looks like it has some momentum in here. And this is a continuation. I don't think it had news today. It was just a continuation. And I think that folks finally figured out, you know what, there's nothing else. This is probably a good play. But the interesting thing that happened to this stock is it did go up, and then I think it went a little over 530 high a day, and then it just careened back down. So here we finally begin to see a little bit of daylight. And so it looks like my idea that it's going to go up starts to come into play. But still a long wick, which means it's still facing resistance up there before the $5. And here I didn't like this. A second red wick. And the MACDs are starting to curl and shunt. So, I thought of getting out. I said, oh, if I wind up today, Friday, losing $2, it's not that bad. And I was okay with losing up to $10 here. But notice I didn't put I thought about it, putting a sell stop. But I thought, you know what, this thing is likely to go back down to one of the EMAs and then kick itself back up again. And I'll be down 12, $15, and the stock will be up above $5. So only with 20 shares you're in the game. You feed your need to play, your FOMO, and I wasn't really feeling any of that. I was feeling really calm and really focused on the fact that I didn't want to lose large amounts of money, and that when the time came to get in, that I would know and that I would be ready. I think that's a good play for us folks who like to play the breakout, the upper breakout, is going with one or two shares and then see what it does. If it breaks down, then wait for the pullback, and if there is something there, then jump in with some size. Otherwise, if it goes without you and you can't get into it, you at least are going to get whatever tiny green profit comes out of holding, one or two or five shares even, depending on what your play is. So, and I mentioned that before. I told myself that I would do that before, and I haven't done it. So, we gotta try better in February. Maybe since it's Valentine's Day, it comes in February, maybe the market will show us some love, but I doubt it. The market takes no prisoners, folks. Make sure you practice in the simulator. Losing days are very, very common, and for small accounts, earning large amounts of money comes with greater risk of losing larger amounts of money. So if you're thinking, how I'm going to make $50, $150, $200 a day, yes, you can. But you're risking more money. And what happens is when you try to make over 50, dollars a day, and if that's your goal, on bad days, you're going to lose 200 to 400. And towards the end there, the last week of January, I saw some folks lose thousands. And that hurts. We're all in this boat together, and we're all trying to make it, and it's difficult when you're doing sort of okay, and then all of a sudden 1 week comes and and it's not even in a day; it's in a few minutes. you're down 400, 1,000, or even $2,000. That's crazy. I think that if I lost $2,000 in a month, I would quit. That would really be the. I would give it up, and not that I wouldn't come back, but I would say, you know what, I'd wait for a positive market, for a better economy, and for a more stability in the market, because we don't have it. That golden promise of great stability, and it ain't here, and it might take a little while. So continue to go back and forth while I'm still in that feed trade and VIVS. It's actually not looking too bad here too, and I'm still at $2,000 in the settle account, 2,050. But what I didn't like about this was the number of sellers. It was just a large amount of sellers, and I think there's a little momentum on VIVS, but it eventually dies and careens back down as well. So here I've held through, and it hasn't been a horrendous red red amount, and it starts coming back, and now we see an opportunity here that coming up. We still don't know whether it's going to have the strength to move up past that set line. Here it finally does it, and if I had been more sure, if I had better indicators, I would have uh, bought there, but I didn't. So here I'm checking my settled cash funds, making sure that I've got enough, and setting up my buy quantity. But the MACD is showing me a dragon face. Funny how I should draw it up one day. See, it looks like it's got a peak there, or like a bird, like a serpent. And it tried to go up and it didn't quite make it. But I do see a pattern here. It looks like it is curling up. And it's past 7 a.m. So here's the break. Finally. And I should have jumped in right here. I don't know why I waited a little longer. But it's hesitation, and it's okay to be hesitant. And like I said, it's okay to wait for confirmation and then jump in uh, before it heads up. You see how quickly it dropped into a negative space. Here's our break. This is the point where I should have taken size, but I waited a little longer. Or did I? There you go, 486. So it's a little high. I think I went in on market just to be sure I get filled. And I'm looking for the top there, and I got out at 495. And even though this went up to 523. So yeah, I left 10, 15, 20 cents on the table, but another 20 bucks perhaps. That it's not gonna recover the mistakes I made for the month. And um, so we're not gonna do it. We had a hesitation up there, looked like it was going to halt, but it didn't halt, and instead that green candle just fell back. So we salted the top of the prior candle there, and that's good enough. There's no reason to wait for this secondary candles. It was just way too quick. So we made $23.32, and at this point we're not satisfied with the amount, but we're satisfied that it's green and not red. And I think it doesn't go back up again. But I wanted to show you something else. I wanted to show you this one was on halt, and I looked at it, and I still had money left, 700 bucks, but I did not trade it. FOMO did not get me this time. I used discipline. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Like and subscribe. Gorilla out until February week 1.